All right, Steeler fans, it's Friday. It's the second half of the podcast. It's the All Betz Are Off segment. I'm not changing the name just because Jeremy's not able to make us. Big shout out to Jeremy. I hope everything's okay with him and his family and his residence and his place of work and just that area, just like your town. Like there's something about your town. So I hope he's okay. I hope he's back next week. But filling in Corey Eckenroth. Corey, what's up? Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me again, Jeff.
No problem, man. Let me ask you a quick question because I did this with Jeremy last season. I'll ask you the same thing. How did you start listening and following our stuff, whether it was at Behind the Steel Curtain or whether it was at Steel Curtain Network?
Oh yeah, it was at Behind the Steel Curtain. You guys were still doing a lot of articles and stuff over there.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed doing the Friday night six pack and stuff like that. I really enjoyed doing a lot of interaction there with everybody. And as you grew over there, it just kind of I grew with you. And when you migrated, so did I. So it's kind of where we've gotten to the point where I'm still here because I'm part of the hashtag Ride or Die crew.
Yeah, you are. And you've been a longtime member of the Ride or Die crew. And you are now covering the Pittsburgh Pirates for Fans First Sports Network. And we might have you on our Steelers stuff. You're like Jordan Berry of the Fans First Sports Network. Like you're weaseling your way around.
Oh, don't say that. You don't even like that guy. Don't give me bad vibes like that.
Hey, he stuck around for a while, so hey, longevity. Okay, let's talk about this upcoming game. Before we do that, I have to bring up the rumors and the Davante Adams, which at the time of this being recorded, he is still a member of the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm assuming you probably checked out my special Thursday podcast. I wanted to get your take on that because there's a lot of people that view that's a potential second round draft pick and a player going to Vegas, and they think, holy crap, we can't mortgage the future. Now, I outlined how I don't think that is mortgaging the future. What do you think about that being the terms that are being tossed around both from our source and other sources in terms of what the Steelers are willing to offer? What's your take on that?
Well, there were whispers of it during the offseason as well, I think, where Davante Adams was looking for trade bait and stuff like that. So just by waiting, instead of spending a first rounder on a Brandon Ayuk, we're possibly looking at spending a second. I think that's relatively cheap for the type of production you're going to get out of this guy, playing a number two, especially. So, what is his expected load going to be as he comes in? What's his volume going to be as a number two? I think that would be the biggest reason why they wouldn't want to offer too much, because Pickens is going to get his targets, and Freiermuth in this offense, like we haven't even seen that part of this yet. A big part of this Arthur Smith offense was supposed to be the tight ends, and we haven't really seen a huge dosage of that like we thought we would at this point. So, like going on there.
What is your take on Adams personally? Like, would you like him to be the guy if they were to make a trade? Is there another receiver out there that you're like, if we're going to give up a second round pick, I'd rather get this guy? Or are you thinking that Davante Adams would be the best option?
I saw a post on X and I didn't give it a whole lot of attention, but there were two other names that got thrown out, and the one that did strike me as possible would be Amari Cooper. He was recently with the Browns. He would be the type of receiver who's not going to command a ton of money at this point, and would actually do really well in that number two role on the other side of the offense, blocking. So I think that Omar Khan might want to look at that avenue as a definite coup, a recoup on anything that could happen with Davante Adams. I had also seen another post earlier where he had already stated that he's preferring the Jets, and good for him if that's the case. I think he and Aaron Rodgers have been trying to join back up ever since they were in Green Bay, and this is the way that they had to do it to get their own team the way that they wanted it, because apparently they didn't like Green Bay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if
why.
do you really think the Browns would trade Amari Cooper within the division, though? I don't. I don't think there's a chance in hell that they would do that.
I mean, they traded us Joe Hayden, didn't they?
Well, no, he was released and the Steelers signed him.
That's true. That's true. You're right about that.
Now, if they cut Amari Cooper, then all bets are off. Literally, here we are in the segment. Let's go get him. I'm fine, but they would have to cut him, and I don't think they're going to do that. And I don't think they trade him. The Steelers would have to offer a lot for them to trade him in the division, and they still haven't played Pittsburgh yet. Because could you imagine? Like I brought this up with Brian Davis on our Source podcast. Could you imagine if somehow, some way, the Steelers make this deal with the Raiders, and in 2 weeks they go to Las Vegas and Devontae Adams could return and play against his former team? Like the storylines are incredible. Some might almost say it's scripted, but I'm not going there. I'm not going there. Yeah, I saw that eye roll. All right. I want to let's focus on the upcoming game, week 5, Sunday Night Football, Dallas, Pittsburgh. It's an intriguing matchup for a lot of reasons. Let's talk about the injury front first. Steelers have wrapped up their practice on Thursday. Today, Friday, is the day that you're going to get the final designation. Isaac Seumalo looks like he is good. He's been a full participant both Wednesday and Thursday. And on top of that, unless there's a setback on Friday, he should probably be back in the lineup. How big is this for you to have him back on the offensive line?
Crucial, absolutely crucial. Even if he's missed a couple of games because James Daniels going on IR this past week with his injury, trying to find some kind of seamlessness through that. But we're working with a patchwork line at this point, aren't we, Jeff?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and so I think that I would, if I'm a betting man, I would say that Mason McCormick would be the one that would start on the right side if and when Seumalo returns on the left. And I think that gives you your best chance for success. And really, when you think about it, Spencer Anderson is a serviceable player. A lot of people compare him to Kelvin Beachum, late round draft pick, can play a lot of different positions. And that's fine. Kelvin Beachum has had one hell of an NFL career considering he was a 7th round draft pick. But I don't think Spencer Anderson does any one thing great. Mason McCormick, even as a rookie, is a road grader. That's his MO. Like, let's go out and let's move some bodies. Put him next to Broderick Jones. And then on the other side, you have Isaac Seumalo and Dan Moore. That is a run blocking front. And so I'm curious if the Steelers will be able to impose their will against a Dallas defense that, I don't know, that they really don't do anything that great. Really, like I'm looking at it, they don't do anything that well. I mean, they're giving up 355 yards per game. That's 26th in the league.
The Steelers, I fully do expect Mason McCormick to be on the right side, but there may be an opportunity where they want Isaac Seumalo over there on the right side to give Mason somebody with experience on his left side with Dan Moore Jr. because he would have Ryan Frazier, or sorry, not Ryan Frazier, Zach Frazier as a rookie on his left, and then he would have another rookie on his right with Broderick Jones. That's kind of a tough
Broderick
spot.
Jones is a second-year player, but I get what you're saying. He's not very experienced.
No, he's not very experienced. So, I don't know, maybe to give some experience on that right side to run the ball. If they're going to run that ball, especially against this Dallas defense, maybe they do put him on that right side. And to think about it, though, you're right about Mason McCormick being a road grader. Is it going to matter? If the Cowboys are really that terrible on defense, the Steelers should be able to run the ball well. It depends on which version of Najee Harris we get this week.
It also depends on what running backs are available because Cordero Patterson hasn't practiced yet. Jalen Warren hasn't practiced yet this week with ankle and knee injuries respectively. Najee Harris seems to be healthy. The Dallas Cowboys defense is surrendering 145.8 yards per game on the ground, which is 27th in the league. But hey, just in case you forgot, there was a similar song and dance being sung and done last week with the Indianapolis Colts because they were awful against the run either. They were surrendering 179 yards a game last week. And we all know the Steelers didn't do much on the ground outside of Justin Fields' running ability, which it's still rushing yards. It's just not your conventional way of doing it.
So maybe Arthur Smith needs to start calling his RPOs this week, knowing that DeMarcus Lawrence and possibly Micah Parsons are out, not having the speed on the outside. Do they start running some of those RPO concepts to get everybody on the boundary, get everybody on the outside, get everybody chasing in the first and second quarter? That way, by the time the third and fourth come around, now Najee's here punching you in the face for 5, 7, 8, 10 yards of carry.
I mean, this is the game, and I said it last week as well, and it's exactly the way it played out. You knew that the Colts were going to just say, if you're going to beat us, it's not going to be running the ball. We know our stats aren't good. We know that recent history has not been fond of our rush defense. So we're going to load the box. We're going to run blitz the hell out of you. Can you adjust and beat us? And for the first half, the Steelers didn't. It wasn't until they got into all right, we got to try and get some points before the end of the half, that they started to finally move the ball and figure some things out. I really hope the Steelers and Arthur Smith come in with a better plan and figure out, okay, we know that the Dallas Cowboys, and they're already shorthanded, are going to come in and they're going to try and make sure they don't get beat on the ground. That's what the Steelers should want to do. Control the time of possession, keep Dallas's offense off the field. That can be the best thing to help your defense. But I just don't think it's going to be as easy as everyone thinks. The RPO game, getting Justin Fields on the perimeter, seeing what he can do in terms of throwing and running, stretch that defense out, like you said, especially without Lawrence and Parsons in the lineup. So it's going to be interesting. And do you like primetime games, just out of curiosity? Do you like those Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night matchups, or do you prefer 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock kickoffs?
Well, I think family likes it if they're a little bit later. Typically we're just getting done with lunch and everything else, and so we like to kind of chill on Sundays. But chilling on Sundays for us is watching the Steelers game. So for me,
Right.
for us, it doesn't matter.
I hate staying up late, man. That drives me nuts. Like, I don't get to bed till almost 1 o'clock on night games, and I'm a zombie the next day, and it's nuts. But still, let's talk about the AFC North. We always do picks here on the All Bets Are Off segment. We'll start off with the first divisional game. I believe this is the first divisional game of the year for anyone in the AFC North. Going to be a big one, 1 o'clock in Cincinnati. Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, both coming off wins last week. Cincinnati over Carolina. Baltimore crushed the Buffalo Bills. Baltimore on the road is giving 2.5 points. What do you think about this game? How do you see it playing out?
Only giving 2.5's awfully thin for
on the road.
On the road, I mean, I think so. With the way that Baltimore handled Buffalo, and then to see how Cincinnati squeaked by last week, it was. I honestly think they're two teams kind of going in two different directions. But with it being a divisional matchup, you never can tell. If the Baltimore Ravens are smoking teams left and right, and then all of a sudden they run into an 0-10 Cleveland team, and then for some reason Cleveland could beat them because they just match up well, because it's an divisional game. This is the same kind of thing, but I still expect Baltimore to come out on top in this one, take the points.
Lamar Jackson's record against the Bengals, especially in Cincinnati, is not good. It is not good. Now, the Bengals defense is rough. It's not very good. They're banged up. I think Hendrickson's also hurt now, or at least not 100%. We'll put it that way. I think that the Baltimore Ravens win, but I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I do not think this is going to be a repeat of Baltimore versus Buffalo on Sunday night last week. Sure. I think the Ravens win. I wouldn't be shocked. And when you bring it up the way that you painted that picture, maybe I thought the Ravens would be giving more points even on the road, but I think this is going to be a close game. The over-under is 49.5 in this game. And I'm thinking over, because both of these defenses I don't think are very good. Baltimore's defense is not that good.
No, they're not. And it depends on how you attack them. But yeah, I would definitely take the over on that.
All right.
I'm comfortable taking the over on that.
That's fine. Let's go to the next one, the Cleveland Browns, which, again, when the schedule came out, I'm sure they were thinking, oh, this is a win. We're going to Washington. We're playing the Commanders. It's a rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels. This is going to be fun. The Browns are getting 3 points. Washington's getting the stock 3-point home field advantage. Over-under is 43.5. And all of a sudden, this Washington team is 3-1 and leading the NFC East. What do you think about this game?
It'll be a good test, because Cleveland's defense is good. And, Jaden Daniels has come out smoking red hot. I'm sure that he starts winning games like this. If he wins on Sunday, he's going to start getting the Ben Roethlisberger comparisons during his rookie season. So don't be surprised if you start hearing that. But I think in this instance, I like Dan Quinn as a coach. I think he's really changed the culture of this team, along with the new ownership. This isn't your same old Redskins anymore, and they should be taken seriously. That being said, Cleveland does have a really good defense, led by the fake 2-time defending player of the year. But anyways, so all that being said, I'm gonna roll with Washington. I like what they're doing there. I like how Jaden Daniels is playing the position. He's playing really well, and I like Washington to come out on top in that one, if on the money line.
Money line, I'll take the Commanders. Getting the points, I'll take the Browns. I think this is going to be a close game. I think
I do too.
Deshaun Watson's going to put up some semblance of a fight. Nick Chubb is back at practice. I don't think he's going to play right away, but that just having him around, I'm sure, is going to be a big boost for that Browns team and the morale in the locker room because he's a hell of a player. But I don't think it's going to be enough. I think Washington wins, advances to 4-1, and the Browns at 1-4 would be facing dire straits. Did you just look up something on Chubb?
No, I was actually looking at the over/under on the game, 43.5. I was thinking of a score of something like 21-20 or like 22-19,
I could
something
see
like that.
for sure. All right, so now the game that everyone cares about, and that is the Sunday night game, prime time in Pittsburgh.
That's
the Pittsburgh Steelers, Dallas Cowboys in Week 5. Steelers are giving 2.5 points. If you're thinking money line bets, Pittsburgh is -135. Dallas is +114 with an over/under of 44. So, Corey, with all that out of the way, what is your prediction and how do you see this game shaking out?
I don't want to give too much away because I know we're going to do some network staff picks article at the end of the week that's going to come out. So,
yep.
I'll make this as bare bones as possible, but I do like the Steelers to come out on this. The Steelers Cowboys games always are good, fun games to watch. Sometimes the numbers don't really matter in this game. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Both teams just match up well. It's always a primetime matchup when they play. It's always fun to watch when they play. There's always big plays when they play, and it's always close at the end. The last couple of games that these two teams have played have been, within 5 points. So, it's going to be a close game. I think this one's going to even be more primetime drama. I'm going to predict it now. I think this one's going to go to overtime.
Oh no.
Yeah. But I think the Steelers are going to cover, and I think that either Fields or Najee's going to score a touchdown in overtime to end the game, walk it off at home in prime time.
That would be fun. And actually, my score prediction would be conducive to that if that's the way it played out. That's not the way I had it in my head. I'll tell you my score pick. I've got the Steelers winning this one. I think that they win 26-20. So when you said overtime, walk-off, touchdown, if they were tied 20-20 going into overtime, you score a touchdown, you don't kick the extra point. The final score would be 26-20. I think it is going to be a competitive game. It's going to be a compelling game. The Cowboys offense doesn't run the ball well at all. They want to throw the ball. They want to throw it over and over again. So it's going to be, I'm curious to see how the Steelers handle this Cowboys offense, especially after the way they played last week against the Colts. The Colts are multifaceted, have a really good receiving core. So, and I'm not going to say that Dallas is way worse, but without Brandon Cooks, they are significantly lesser than the Colts wide receiving crew. So we'll see how they do. But I like the Steelers 26-20 to advance to 4-1, get back on the winning track. Their second home win, staying undefeated at home. So there you go. Corey, I want to ask you to plug not just your social media handles, but also feel free to plug Talk the Plank about the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Thanks again for having me on, Jeff. I am now the managing editor over at Talk the Plank 3K. Check us out wherever you get in your podcast. Give us a like. We're always talking about the Pirates. I threw out a end of the year monologue tribute to Bob Nutting and torched his effigy to heavens. It was smithereens. It was bad. You should go back and check that out, by the way. But you can also find me on X. I'm posting content here, writing for the Steel Curtain Network. You guys is gracious enough to have me on here. Probably some other opportunities coming up soon you were mentioning. So yeah, check me out. Give me a follow. Give me a like. Give me a holler. Scream at me. Yell at me. Boo me. Cheer me. Whatever.
There you go. Appreciate it, Corey, for your time, man. Take it easy, and we'll be talking soon.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. Appreciate it.
All right.